think I could have handled it. Albert, please lead us, sir.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today with a brief but direct message. We come to ask you for your blessings and for your guidance and for your direction as we work our way through the evening program. We thank you for all that you've done and for all that you will do. I pray in the name of our Lord Jesus.
Amen. Thank you, Albert. Welcome, everybody. Roll call.
Turner.
Here.
Stock.
Here.
Young.
Here.
Meadows.
Here.
Susan Meadows is here with us via Teams. Robertson.
Here.
Hurt.
Here.
Carter. Venable.
Here.
Mayor.
Whitney.
Mayor, I move to amend the council agenda by adding a new business item, item D, regarding the consideration of resolution R2020-11, authorizing and approving agreement with Cooper County for CARES Act funding.
Okay, and which Roman numeral does that go under?
That's going to be item D.
Item-
Roman numeral.
New business.
Under new business? Okay. All right. Is there a second? Michael? Roll call.
Turner.
Yes.
Stock.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Meadows. Meadows. Meadows.
Are you there, Susan?
I lost her.
I lost her.
She's here.
She's showing.
Teresa, you were cutting out. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Susan.
Robertson.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Venable.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Item 3, hearing of citizen comments. If you have a comment that you'd like to make, please come up forward to the podium. Speak to the microphone. Name yourself and tell us from which ward you have come. And there is nobody coming forward. Approval of the minutes of November 16 council meeting. Any changes, corrections, or deletion? Okay, that was pages 1 through 5, and they shall be accepted as submitted. Thank you. Consent items. Item A, consider pay request number 2 from Walls HVAC Service LLC in the amount of $19,872.07 for pool AHU replacement at Boonslick, Heartland, YMCA. Do we have a motion? Whitney, thank you.
I make a motion. This be approved.
Second by Michael, thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, roll call.
Turner.
Yes.
Stock.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Meadows. 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 Susan, it's Teresa. We're gonna go ahead and try to do this off my cell phone.
Okay, yeah, I'm losing you and lost connection, so.
Okay, we have a vote to consider pay request number 2, which is the final from Walls HVAC Service LLC in the amount of $19,872.07 for pool AHU replacement at the Boonville Heartland YMCA. Whitney made a motion to pass, Mike Stock seconded, and then you're next for voting.
I vote yes.
Okay, Robertson,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 6, presentation of accounts and claims.
Ordinance appropriating money be it ordained by the council of the city of Boonville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the city of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on December 7th, 2020, the sum of $404,961.21. General fund, $154,126.18. Sanitation, $33,783.57. CIP tax, $39,056.79. Waterworks, $115,408.01. Capital projects, $0.00. Wastewater, $31,792.05. Tourism, $5,585.42. Gaming, $477.00. Parks and Water, $79.19. Kemper sales tax, $24,653.00. Section 2. The accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks from the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $404,961.21, being the total amount of money above appropriated. Section 3. This ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. First reading on December 7th, 2020. Read for the second time this December 7th, 2020, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that this be approved.
Thank you. Whitney, a
I'll
second?
second it.
Second. Roll call.
Turner.
Yes.
Stock.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Venable.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 7, unfinished business. A, second reading of bill number 2020-022, amending ordinance regarding city attorney.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, creating a new section 2-77 of the Code of General Ordinances, previously repealed, to provide an annual salary amount for the office of city attorney, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Is there a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a
Whitney,
motion-
thank
make a
you.
motion to approve it.
Second?
Second it.
Thank you, Teresa. Any questions or comments? Mike?
What are the, I think I missed, was that on the last meeting? Okay. What did we raise? Actually,
40,000.
40,000.
so we're,
We're at 22.5 right now, and it's going to 40. And we removed hourly, so before, if you remember the old ordinance, it had so many hours, 15 hours a month, I believe. We've gotten rid of all that. It's just a flat salary. And then we've also tied it to every 2 years, we'll look at, like the CPI.
and that will accommodate for the amount of tickets that he's going through.
Yes.
On an annual basis, no, he gets the 40,000. And that's it for that year.
Gotcha, that's what I'm saying, so.
Yeah. But Brad has our current city attorney has seen this, and he thinks this is a fair revision.
I don't know, I'm just asking, because I didn't know, I knew we were gonna do something, but I missed that completely, I guess. So.
Well, your question was good.
I'm good.
Because
I'm
that
good,
assures,
because there's always, you just don't
good.
have to pay for it, you know.
Steve?
And Mr. Waldridge is okay with this?
Yes, sir.
Well, and this is done before, election election time, so if he's not, he doesn't have to rerun. It just opens it up and it's all taken care of before election time.
So if he runs again in April.
Yes.
Right. He knows what he's running for, so to speak. Roll call.
Turner,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Venable.
Yes.
Susan, are you able to hear us talking?
Just barely, but I'm following along, so.
Okay, well, we'll speak up a little louder. Does that help?
Yeah, I'm sorry for the trouble, but
Susan, you are no trouble. Please don't think that. Item B, second reading of Bill number 2020-023, approving the creation of a Tif Commission for the Thurman Housing Development Project located at Highway 87 corridor at Per Lane.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri amending Chapter 2 of the City of Boonville Code of General Ordinances to establish a tax increment financing commission, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Motion to approve?
Questions? We're not to questions?
We're going to have a motion in a second, then we can do questions.
Okay.
Okay, Teresa?
I motion.
Okay, motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Steve, thank you.
I just-
Questions and comments?
I just want to note that Tony St. Romain is back, and there's a memo I briefly talked about on page 11. He's also here, and you can come on up to the mic. So if you have any questions, you can ask me, but I might defer to him.
I'm going to take this mask off if you don't mind. It's a little easy to talk, and you might actually want to put a face with the name.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you. I'll be happy.
All right, let's go for questions.
I just had a couple of questions. One is the makeup of the TIF commission, and what kind of mix of individuals we're looking at there, and how many would be a part of that commission?
Okay,
So a TIF commission, this is the first thing you have to do. Obviously, you don't even have an application in front of you process. You have no process at all to consider a TIF application. So this is the first step, actually forming a TIF commission. So by state statute, it requires 11 members. So 6 members are going to be appointed by you. So I know there's some thought already going into who might be possible members of that TIF commission. The other 5 are basically specified by statute. So you have 2 members that will be appointed by the school district. You have 2 members that will be appointed by the county, so by Cooper County. And then you'll have 1 member that will be assigned to all the other taxing jurisdictions in this area. So you've probably got a library district and a couple of other taxing jurisdictions, I'm sure, maybe like the fire district. I'm not sure what all you have, but you'll have 1 member who will share all of those other taxing jurisdictions. So total 11, 6 by you, 5 by those other jurisdictions.
and to clarify, none of those members can be a city councilman,
They cannot.
correct?
No, because basically the TIF commission, basically, they have one purpose in life. That is to call a public hearing after they've considered the application, the proposal, looked at the cost-benefit analysis. They have to call a public hearing. That's basically their role. They'll call a public hearing. They'll hear testimony from various stakeholders in the community, the public, and they will vote on whether or not to recommend to you whether it passes or not. That's only a recommendation. You are going to be the ultimate body to decide whether it moves forward or not.
And when does this process start and when's it finish?
So I don't know, did you manage to make copies
Yep,
for that?
they have copies at the
Okay,
table.
so
Or
you
is that in
have,
there?
It's in the
Okay.
extra stuff on your
you should
table.
have a document that, yeah, just like that. So as you can see, I don't know if you want me to go through this entire thing, but you can kind of see I've got 2 pages here of a lot of steps that have to take place. And so we're right now at the very beginning stages of this whole process, basically approving the TIF commission. The second step I want to describe, because I think you've got the preliminary funding agreement in front of you too. So I did want to say that, obviously there are costs associated with your review with the city's review of this application. There's the cost associated with my being here as a representative for the City of Boonville. You're also going to consider hiring Gilmore and Bell, legal counsel. They are very experienced with TIF projects. I've worked with them on many projects. And also Joy Howard, who I think is with WM Financial Strategies, is that correct? Mm-hmm. And she will basically be looking at it from a financial standpoint, looking at the return on investment of the developer, looking at what the cost benefit is to the city to actually approve a TIF. So all of those costs are going to be rolled into this pre-funding agreement. We're going to require the developer to, when they put an application in, and you'll see on here that right now, so this is still in draft stage, but on January the 22nd, we're going to request that the applicants submit the actual TIF application to you. When they submit that TIF application to you, there'll be a $10,000 application fee with it. That's really going to be just enough to get started. So my experience, and I've worked on 4 of the TIF projects for the City of Columbia, my experience has been by the time we get through this entire 2-page process, it'll be somewhere around $30,000. So that $10,000 will be to help pay the fees for consultants that you will have. And once that first $10,000 runs up, they have to continue to provide funds to basically pay all those fees. And I can go through the rest of this if you want, but I know the bill right now is really just to establish a TIF commission.
One step at a time.
Because I could be here for an hour talking about all these various steps. You can just see it's a very, I'm sure probably, I'm just going to assume you don't know a whole lot about TIF right now, but as I said, the first step is basically just getting this TIF commission together. Once we get the TIF commission together and start working our way through all these various other steps, you'll see right now we have tentatively planned the first TIF commission meeting as of the 17th of March. I know the developer wants to get started on this project as quickly as they can, spring, early summer, so this is really just the first draft of the schedule. You know, if we can move it up a little bit, I think we possibly can. Right now we're planning on 4 different TIF commission meetings. The first one you see on the 17th of March, just to kind of do some administrative stuff, electing officers, chairs, giving them an overview of what their role in the process is, giving the developer a chance to overview the project for you. They'll be submitting a redevelopment plan, cost-benefit analysis, a whole bunch of financial information that you'll need to consider. Then at that point in time, they will schedule at least one of the meetings. I've got 4 in here. This is probably the worst-case scenario, but at least one more meeting where they can set a public hearing. They can ask questions of the developer. You'll have the advice of the consultants from Gilmore and Bell, myself, and WM Financial Strategies. And basically once that gets approved, it'll move on to you. There's a whole bunch of procedural stuff in terms of advertising, notifying taxing jurisdictions that has to take place, and some of those take 45 days. That's why the schedule is kind of drawn out a little bit lengthy, because those things are required by statute. Otherwise we'd be able to get through this a lot quicker, but that's kind of the plan for right now. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions you might have about the TIF Commission or the process moving forward, but we will be explaining a lot more to you. We'll have a work session probably with you. Right now we've got a planned overview of the project on the 18th of January, so at that point in time we'll have the TIF policy and procedures. Right now you don't even have a policy and procedure. You know, what are you trying to achieve with this TIF project? What's the economic benefits to the city? Is it going to create additional jobs? What are the other tax benefits to the city? So those are the things we need to write into the policy, so when you vote on this TIF, you know whether it's meeting those objectives or not.
Good. Thank you, Tony. Anybody? Okay. Albert, anything more?
No.
Okay. All right. Roll call?
Turner,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Venable.
No.
Motion passes. Item 8, new business. Item A, consider parking restriction for Boonslick Area Chamber of Commerce.
Karen Esser is here to answer any questions as well.
Hi, Karen. Want to kind of give us a bit of a physical description of what we're talking about there?
All right, we're talking about the parking spaces in front of Rickmar, the building that's in between the Rickmar and Never the Same. I think they've got it designated as always different. and then the next building, which is houses Lucky Dog, and then where the Main Street Pub used to be.
Okay.
And what we're going to use that for is so that kids can come and see Santa on Thursday evenings and on Saturday afternoons. If their parents want to social distance and stay outside, they can have a visual on those children and also keep them safe as they run in and out. So that's really, it's just very simple. And we're talking about Thursday nights until the, right before Christmas, obviously. We won't have that last week, but Thursday nights from 5:30 to 7, and then on Saturday from 10 to 2.
Good, good plan. Questions? Motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay. Whitney, got Albert as a second. Any further questions? Thank you, Karen. Roll call.
Turner,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Minimal.
Yes.
Okay, item B, consider resolution 2020, authorization to engage with Gilmore and Bell.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving terms of engagement by and between Gilmore and Bell and the City of Boonville, Missouri pertaining to special counsel services to be provided and providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the city requires special counsel to consider the use of economic development incentives in the city, therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between Gilmore and Bell and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to special services, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A, is attached hereto and made a part hereof, is hereby approved. Section 2, that the mayor and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval. Passed the 7th day of December 2020 by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri.
Is there a motion to approve? Nothing. Okay. Go ahead, Kate.
I mean, if you guys have questions, we need a motion and a second to have any discussion.
Also move.
Okay, we need a second, so we can talk about it. Thank you, Teresa. We have a motion and a second. Now, questions. Albert, you got questions?
I do. Now, as I understand, is this, your office is in St. Louis, so will you be having an office here, or you'll be driving back and forth as, because I noticed we're paying for mileage, how does that work?
Yes, so this is all part of the TIF also, and this is in reference to what we'd be reimbursed for. You're required to
To
have,
about 10,000?
yes, so you're required to have council review the TIF on our behalf and on the city's behalf. So Gilmore and Bell, as Tony already said, and he can attest, he's worked with Gilmore and Bell several times. They have extensive experience in doing TIFs all over the state of Missouri, so they are the appropriate entity to help us out. And we've worked with Gilmore and Bell before on our bond council.
So Mr. Romaine will not be involved in any of the legal side of stuff, is that right? Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite have to go.
I was just asking, I was looking maybe for a duplication of effort here, but you will not be involved any,
No,
you're just walking us through the TIF side of it. Is that-
yeah, they are basically lawyers, Mark Grimm and Mark Schleichman, both attorneys. They've had a lot of experience working in the area of tax incentives, whether it be TIFs or formation of CID, so that's where their expertise lies. When we get to the end of this process, if it's approved, they will also be responsible for writing a redevelopment agreement that will come before you, which will basically encompass all the terms and conditions that we talked about or will have talked about during the whole TIF process.
And now, who is Mr. Grimm?
He's an attorney
He's an attorney
for
with
Gilmore and Bell. And we had a brief meeting, so he is aware of the project, and we had a brief meeting with him last week, I believe.
You getting this, Susan?
Yeah.
Okay.
As I said, all of their fees will be reimbursed through the pre-funding agreement, which I think is the next item in front of you.
Yeah. And I also just want to be clear, to clarify, I mean, we have Doug Obley, who's our city councilor, but this is beyond his scope, and he doesn't have an interest in doing this, so that's why we're moving outside.
You had another one, Albert?
Well, I just want to make sure I'm clear on the 10,000, and I thought I heard you say that your experience has shown that it's usually somewhere around 30,000 when it's over and done with. So you advance to 10,000 and then later on it's another 10, did I read
Well,
that
our
somewhere?
plan would be, so they'll advance the first $10,000. My suggestion, and I think it's in the pre-funding
Yeah.
agreement, that once it gets below like $5,000, we'll request another 10, or is it 20? I can't remember.
I think it's 10.
It
I
was
think
10
it's 10.
additional.
I think it's another
thing.
10, so that gets to 20, and if we get close to 15, we'll bump it another 10 up to 30. But my experience has been it's around $30,000 by the time these projects see their final end.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else questions? Roll call?
Turner,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Venable,
No. Okay. Item D, resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving an agreement between Cooper County.
correction,
Do what?
you skipped over C.
I did?
Yes.
Well, let's go back to C then.
Okay.
Item C, consider resolution R 2020-10, authorizing a preliminary funding agreement with Troy Thurman Construction Company Incorporated.
A resolution authorizing the execution of a preliminary funding agreement with Troy Thurman Construction Company Incorporated and authorizing certain actions relating thereto. Whereas Troy Thurman Construction Company Incorporated, the company, has proposed to redevelop approximately 200 acres located in the northeast quadrant of the Interstate 70 and Route 87 intersection. And whereas the company has requested that the City Council explore the feasibility of financing a portion of the cost of redeveloping the area through the use of economic development incentives. And whereas the City Council is willing to consider the company's request if the company advances funds to pay the city's cost of exploring such incentives, and if the company understands that the City Council is not committing to approve any financial incentives for the project. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1. The city is hereby authorized to enter into a preliminary funding agreement, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A, is attached hereto and made a part hereof, with the company relating to the payment of the city's expenses associated with the consideration of potential incentives for the company's proposed project. Section 2. The city shall, and the representatives, agents, and employees of the city are hereby authorized and directed to take such further action and execute and deliver such other documents and instruments as may be necessary or desirable to carry out and comply with the intent of this resolution, and to carry out, comply with, and perform the duties of the city with respect to the resolution. Section 3. This resolution shall take effect and be in full force upon its adoption by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri, passed the 7th day of December 2020 by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this is the last of the three components we're going to talk about tonight. And this is, I think, as Tony already alluded to, and as you can see by the timeline, this is just the first steps of a many-step process and is really just setting the table for the next actions by the city. But if you have any other questions, I'm sure Tony is happy to answer.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Turner,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Venable.
Yes.
Item D,
Yes, sir.
a resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving an agreement between Cooper County of the State of Missouri and the City of Boonville, Missouri, pertaining to county distribution agreement of CARES Act funds.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving an agreement between Cooper County of the State of Missouri and the City of Boonville, Missouri pertaining to county distribution agreement of CARES Act funds and providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the City of Boonville applied for and has been approved to receive funds from Cooper County for CARES Act funding to cover costs incurred due to the public health emergency with respect to the coronavirus 2019. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between Cooper County of the State of Missouri and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to county distribution agreements of CARES Act funds, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A, is attached hereto and made part hereof, is hereby approved. Section 2, that the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval past the 7th day of December 2020 by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri. And also on a side note, this resolution and all its documents are at your seats.
Mayor, make a motion to approve.
All right, thanks, Whitney. Second? Thank you, Michael. Any questions? Comments? Roll call.
Turner,
Yes.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Venable.
Yes.
Thank you. Reports of standing committees. Housing Authority. Morris assures me it was another wonderful meeting. Item B, Street Alley and Sanitation. Steve.
That meeting was canceled.
Board of Public Works. Curtis.
Canceled.
Tourism. Susan.
Canceled.
Canceled. Ooh. Takes care of all four of those. Reports of city officials. City Administrator.
Just a couple items. So one, I stuck in the council the report on the I-70 bridge replacement. I want to remind you guys that we agreed to help pay for some of this. So we've been saving some of it aside, setting it aside the past couple of years, but it looks like maybe in fiscal year 21 they'll come to collect the money, but we'll see. But this is a really great project. I think we're all going to be really appreciative when the new bridge is done.
I would say. For sure.
What is our commitment?
Say it again.
60.
How much did we agree to pay?
60,000.
60 is what I remember. It was so many years ago, I forgot.
Geez, that's 2 years ago.
I know.
Think it's 60?
I was 60.
Yeah.
Was it 100?
Was it 100?
More than that.
Maybe it was 100.
I'll confirm. How about that?
How about?
I'll blame it. It was on my predecessor that did it. That's why I don't
Oh,
remember.
Jesus. Oh, come on. Come on.
Was it the county 100? I think Boonville was 100, and like Boone County or Columbia.
I think they're $1 million each, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Tony? No. See, we forgot. It was so long ago.
I think it was 100.
Good. We got it pretty close. Maybe you ought to just make sure.
Yeah.
How's that?
My next comment is just, as we are nearing the end of the new year, our budget season is also quickly approaching. So for all of the new council people, our fiscal year starts April 1st. I'm pausing a little bit. Oftentimes we have our first budget session at the end of the last meeting of December, oftentimes, but I'm gonna hold off and wait, just to kind of get another month behind our belt and see where we are if the vaccines start coming out, and just try to get a little more clarity on what 21 might look like. And also it's gonna be a little bit different because I have all the department heads breaking up their capital projects and purchases into priorities, so we'll probably look at doing sort of a priority 1 and then wait 6 months or so and see how the budget looks to better accommodate any potential revenue losses, particularly on the gaming side, so we'll see how that looks. The next thing I wanted to just mention is I put out the parade of porches. So normally we do the homes tours. Obviously we're not doing homes tours this year, so the tourism has a parade of porches, so it's a self-driving porch tour to get you in the festive spirit. And all of the volunteers who participated, I'm really appreciative, and their porches look great. And then the last thing I guess I want consensus on, if you remember when we did our sort of budget cutting session some time ago, one of my recommendations was to not continue with the business interruption insurance. I got the quote today, it's $58,000, so it was my recommendation to not renew the business interruption insurance on the casino for this year, given the loss of funds. So I guess I would like a motion to agree to do that, unless you want to do it, and then tell me that.
What year is this for?
This would be for 21. It runs January.
Because it didn't kick in anything in this last.
Does it cover floods though?
Nope.
What if it just closes? What if they do?
I'd have to go back to look at the
No.
policy,
I don't
but
think so.
So
it
what
didn't
does
work on the virus. Is there
What does it cover?
fire?
Huh?
Fire,
Fire.
Fire.
That's it?
for sure.
Earthquake.
It does? Earthquake?
I'm-
But not flood, because it's in the flood zone. So it's
Right.
exclusively.
When do we have to know by?
I could wait, I'm
Can
sure.
we review and get the details?
I'll review it get it from Austin.
It comes in as part of the insurance package. So we have flexibility time-wise, because we're not writing checks now for that.
Yeah, this is a standalone package or policy. So, and if you just remember, several years ago, the insurance was about $22,000 a year, and then last year it raised to $54,000. And I recommended we did it, and now I'm not sure that that's a wise idea for this fiscal year, but if we want to continue with it, I can look in more details and you guys can make a decision.
Have we ever used it?
No.
I think I was on the fence last year, but I think it wouldn't hurt to review what it does cover.
Okay.
I think we need to look at that.
So it has a $100,000 deductible, but it covers up to 3.5 million. So if the idea was if there was a fire and the casino was closed for 11 months and we weren't getting any revenue, this would kick in.
And you did pick up that that's just on the boat money? Yep, okay. It's not on anything else. Okay, good.
I'll talk to Austin and get more details on what it is, and I'll put it on the agenda for the next council meeting.
Thank you.
Yep,
Anything else, Kate?
that's enough.
Okay, I didn't have anything for tonight. City Clerk?
I have a couple of things this evening. On Friday, November the 20th of 2020, the following city employees volunteered an hour of their time to ring the bell to benefit our community through the Salvation Army. Our 2020 bell ringers were Cammie Edgar, Tim Carmichael, Becky Karen, Larry Griffith, Larry Roberts, Joy Roberts, Ben Birch, Tiffany Roberts, Jesse Karen, Guy Kaiser, Mark Strange, Juve Aguado, Paula Renfro, John Kaiser, Kate Fiel, and myself, and I want to offer my thanks to all of them for helping with that. I appreciate it. Also, the candidate filing period for the April 6th, 2021 municipal election will open on Tuesday, December the 15th, 2020, from 8 a.m. to the closing date of Tuesday, January the 19th, 2021 at 5 p.m. The offices to be filled for this upcoming election are for a 2-year term for each council representative for wards 1 through 4. For those that usually sit on my right, but it consists of Michael Stock, Albert Turner, Whitney Venable, and Morris Carter, and also the office of the city attorney, which is a 2-year term. Interested parties will complete a declaration of candidacy, pay a $25 filing fee with the city clerk at City Hall located at 401 Main Street in Boonville, and have their city taxes paid and all user fees current on the last day to file. A public notice of this filing period was published in the Boonville Daily News on November the 28th. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Teresa.
You're welcome.
Miscellaneous. What? Curtis?
Go first, Steve.
Curtis, you go.
I actually have two things, so I'll let him go first.
Okay, go.
We've been getting a couple phone calls, so I just want to ask, can we or should we talk about a mask mandate?
We can talk about it.
Okay. I mean, I know a couple of people that have talked to me are older and they're kind of concerned. I think we have to remember that not all older people are in rest homes. There's still a lot that get out and run around, and they're prone to have worse outcomes when it comes to the COVID. And in my opinion, I feel if there's something we could do to help keep businesses open, that would be a good idea. Now, whether the mask would help slow things down and keep businesses open, I couldn't tell you. And I don't know all the scientific stuff about this stuff. So I think we just need to kind of open it to discussion.
Thank you. Anybody else? Albert?
Go ahead,
Teresa?
lady first.
Well, I've gotten a few phone calls as well this past week regarding wanting to know about us having a mask mandate in the city of Boonville.
And what?
So, in Boonville.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. You have any thoughts on it, or you
I
just?
kind
you're
of
just-
agree with it,
You
you
do?
know. Yeah, because like he was saying, Steve was saying, there are a lot of elderly that are not in, you know, I don't want to say old folks.
In great health.
Yeah, they're not in the great health. And, you know, they still want to continue to be able to live a normal and decent life. But with all of this stuff going around, I mean, and just people doing whatever.
We do have different choices today than we
We
did
do.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Albert?
Well, I want to add to that. I certainly in support of that. There's a couple of things that stick out in my mind. One, you've heard a lot of talk about we're right now on a surge on top of a surge. We're just coming out of Thanksgiving. We really don't know what the outcome of that's going to be, and we're going into Christmas. Our hospitals are overcrowded, and I think it's probably going to get worse. And I think the thing that bothers me perhaps the most is that we all know that a vaccine is on its way, so we kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm afraid what we're going to see is some people letting their guards down because help is coming, and you know we may get through this thing. So I just think it would be a good idea if we give some serious thought to the mandate mask. So I would be in support of that.
Okay. Whitney?
Ned, I guess I'm not going to be for the mask. I feel like that if you're worried about getting the virus, or if you're elderly and you're worried about your risk, if you stay at home, you cannot get the virus. If you have no human-to-human contact, maybe we need to work on something to help deliveries for the elderly, something like that. But I don't think we need to impose a mask mandate on the rest of society based on a few others. So like I said, if you stay at home and you don't interact with other human beings, there's no way you can get the virus. So that's your choice. And if you feel like it's a risk you want to take, you can get out and you can go to the grocery store, you can go to Walmart, you can go to the bar, whatever you want to do. But that's the freedoms we enjoy here in America.
Thank you, Whitney. Curtis? I'm
We,
gonna say
we,
something on
we,
this. On this.
skipped around.
I look at it, I look at a lot of other towns, got mandates and stuff, and how some of the smaller businesses are losing. It's a touch and go situation. My thing is, it should be up to the person. If, by doing it that way, you're not putting a restriction on your businesses, and it's more of a openness to everybody making their own choice on how they want to go about it.
Okay, just a second, because we've had, Susan, did you have any comment?
Yeah, my apologies to those who I really had trouble hearing what they were saying, so if I repeat something, I apologize. I was listening to the news earlier today. Dr. Fauci was saying that with Christmas and New Year's coming, and we still aren't seeing the full impact of Thanksgiving, we're going to have a real tough time clear into January. And as I think I heard Albert say, my biggest concern is the hospitals in our area are already quite full. I haven't seen the latest statistics. So getting access to health care for anybody, not just those with COVID, but anybody who would be, say, in a car accident, have a heart attack, care could become very limited in a very scary way. And you can sit and watch the news and it gets very scary to listen to. But the reality is, if we all just did these behaviors, these simple behaviors of wearing a mask, washing hands, not going and being in crowds, those are simple things to do, and it's only for a small amount of time. There, as Albert said, there is light at the end of the tunnel, but the reality is it's going to be spring. And for many people in terms of getting the vaccine. And I realize that having a mask ordinance is what would be pretty difficult to enforce, but if there was a way for us as a city to emphasize the need for these behaviors and just encourage people to do them, we'd be protecting each other. It's not just about me going out and, oh, I got the virus. It's also about you going out and catching the virus from me catching the virus from you. We need to protect each other, and it's as simple as that. And a mask isn't that much of a big deal, in my opinion. But I don't know how I don't think it's reasonable to try and enforce it. I'm not saying we should have an ordinance necessarily. I'm on the fence about it, but I'd like to see the city do something to make a strong statement and encourage people to accept these behaviors for just a while longer. It won't be forever. I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Susan. Michael?
If that something does happen that gets passed, who's going to police that?
It's a good point.
Health department, county, city, cops?
Health department's
I mean, I work in Columbia, so I'm all day long, and I have no problem with it. But does the health department need to be the one to start that conversation?
They've been asking for it for quite some time.
I don't know, I'm just asking. And I've got people on both sides of the fence, so.
Well, true.
Everybody does, I think, and it's, I don't know.
Okay, everybody had a shot, right? So now we can go back to shot number one.
I would kind of be for it if it was on a limited basis, if we could say, well, middle of January, or just the public places. There's no way you're gonna mandate somebody to do it in their own house or around their own families, that's just not right. But if older people would feel better coming downtown when people wear masks in public, in the stores and stuff, they might be more likely to come downtown.
Curtis?
I want to say one more thing on this, and this comes from being in Columbia too. Even though Columbia has their mandate, people put their mask on, they don't actually cover everything. In court, by Columbia mandate, as long as you have the mask somewhere on your face, you cannot be fined for anything for it. It ain't. Gotta be up there.
Yeah.
Or halfway underneath right down to your chin.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there are a couple of different approaches. Some genius that I'm pretty familiar with and I work a lot with made a suggestion to me today, because I'm not in favor of trying to pass a law in the city of Boonville. And I wear the mask where I'm asked to wear it. I'm going to respect whatever, somebody wants me to do, wherever I go. In fact, that was one of the few that when Walmart was requiring a mask, I was wearing a mask. But there's two things that happen. One, you pass something like that, how do you enforce it? As an employer, we had up to 300 people at Fuqua. And a factory is a petri dish. If you don't remember in chemistry what a petri dish is, it's a little dish that you put your germs in and then you multiply when you're doing your experiments. So in a factory, and my daughter asked me this, what would you do? And I said I'd enforce masks. I wouldn't let anybody in the morning, and if anybody wasn't wearing it, I'd make sure they got it back on. But what do I have? You know what I had. I was the boss. I had the paycheck. I can enforce it, right? We pass an ordinance, or we pass a resolution, which I'll talk about in a minute. How do we enforce it? I mean, we don't hold everybody's paycheck in the city of Boonville or the county of Cooper. Now, there is, however, the effect of a city or a county or a state saying, please wear masks. There's an effect to that. It shows leadership. It shows that you want folks to try and protect each other, right? Now, can you do that in a form of an ordinance? An ordinance is pretty dictatorial. It's basically a law. A resolution is a kiss on the lips. It says, I love you, and I want you to live longer, so wear masks. But it doesn't enforce anything. It just says that we, as a group, suggest that you do that. Neither one of these can be done tonight, and we're not going to do them in miscellaneous anyway. But I want you to think about it. I want you to put your heads to it. Is this something that we want to do as a community? Is this something we want to do as individuals? And really do that. Go through it. Susan, I think, gave us a good full description. Albert did too, so did Teresa. Steve? Okay, yours was good too. But that doesn't mean that we have to do it. We can encourage it. We can show it by example. Tony's been sitting back there. Both of you back there on the back wall. That's setting an example just by wearing them. But it's got to be up to the individual. The individual still has to decide to protect himself or herself. And I'm not sure that we're in a position to tell everybody, wear a mask. Whitney?
Since this has been going on since March, May, or whatever, these mask mandates, I encourage folks to look for some area where it is actually made in effect. Look at California, where we're closing down everything, closing down businesses. We've had mask mandates for how long? And numbers are still going up. They're not going down. Look at New York. Some of the places with the most strict regulations on that stuff have the highest numbers. So if masks work, there should be an example somewhere in America where you could show us where the mask mandate directly correlated with numbers going down in transmission. And I've been yet to have seen that.
Just a response to.
Go, Albert.
Well, just a response to that. We've seen some numbers go up, but who's to say if we didn't have masks, we wouldn't be here?
Look at California. Look at Florida.
Well, I'm not sure where you look. I'm just saying.
Similar area, similar geography, similar population.
And the other point I guess I wanted to make, you know, our new president-elect has proposed. He takes office. He's going to ask the whole country to wear a mask for 100 days. We've all heard that, right? So, what's that?
You just gotta really zing it, don't you?
Now, I don't know what form that'll take, not sure it's gonna be a strict mandate, but I guess if it is, and it passes through, then we're gonna have to address this whole business of enforcement anyway. So to me, the enforcement thing is kind of a cop-out, I think, an excuse in my mind. Because I think if it's something that we feel is important, that needs to be done, is helpful, then I think we need to do it.
Okay. Good, thank you. Anything else for tonight? Any other miscellaneous?
I got one.
Curtis, you had one more item?
I have
and you
actually
did too.
I have two things, Mayor. First thing, I've been getting phone calls about the downtown lights at night. Since a lot of more stores are staying open later in Columbia and people are coming home later, we've had a few accidents almost happen downtown with them lights going to flashing. I'm just gonna put that out there. Secondly,
But whoa, stop. I have no clue what you're talking about.
the lights down here at like.
The Christmas
downtown-
lights?
No, the regular street lights.
Oh, the street lights, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I don't know what time they switch over to the red. It's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's been for years.
Is it 10 o'clock?
It's been like that for
And then it switches back at what, 6 in the morning?
6 o'clock.
So we have people shopping after 10?
A lot of the stores in Columbia are staying open till like 10 or 11 now.
So they're just not seeing them flashing red?
People have still been calling, said I got in an accident down there because flashing, because more cars are being out later. So, this is,
So here we had accidents because of flashing lights? Is that, because we had flashing red lights, we had accidents?
no, we haven't had accidents, we've about had them, about.
About?
Yeah, not right on.
Okay. All right.
And my second thing is, I've been getting phone calls from people out of town that came actually to Walmart over the weekend. And Randy, I want to commend you and Cooper County and Howard Joe for Shop with the Cop. It went over well. A lot of people have been calling me out of town, have been amazed with how it went. And seeing all law enforcement officers out there shopping with children. They want to commend you guys for that.
Nice work.
Very good.
Good, Curtis. Appreciate it. Anybody else?
Two really quick items. One is a parliamentary type inquiry, I believe. I've noticed that let me just first ask, so we operating under Robert's Rule of Business? Okay. One of the things I've noticed is that we rarely, seldom use the unfinished business. And I guess I'm wondering why. I guess my thought is anybody that comes before us with an issue and that issue is not resolved, why wouldn't that be a unfinished business until it's brought to a resolution? And I give you an example. Just last week, we had the Highland Street deal. The complaint there, and of course, our recommendation was, I believe, Steve, your group was to take that up, or the board
Streets and
that
alley?
you're.
Streets and alley.
What's that?
Streets and alleys, we're supposed to take
Streets
it
and alley,
up.
okay. Anyway, that meeting was canceled, I believe, is that what we said?
Yes, right before Thanksgiving.
Right, so is that issue still hanging? And that means you won't meet until, what, January to resolve that issue, so that's 2 months?
I think he's trying to set up.
Yeah, we set up a meeting for the 16th of this month, which is
For that
next
issue?
Wednesday, a week from this Wednesday, yes.
Okay.
A special meeting just because we do have several items on there.
Okay. So my point was, do we need something to keep that in front of us, I guess? Yes or no? I'm just asking.
I think some of it gets handled.
What?
Typically, I was just gonna say, not to say it can't change, but typically the business on the agenda is things that we're gonna be talking about. So if there's nothing to say, we don't leave it on the agenda until we're ready to either have a discussion, so you'll see it on discussion on forming a Tif Commission or whatever, or discussion on this. We'll put it on the agenda if we're gonna have a conversation, or if there's something actionable by the council.
Okay, that's the decision we made.
Yeah, like a minute ago. We finished talking for tonight about the mask thing. So that'll come back up on the agenda for the next meeting in some way. I mean, we may just do it again in miscellaneous, or we may do it as something
Okay.
else.
We would carry nothing like that as an unfinished business.
Right.
Not typically.
That would be one with the department head and the probably council person. with
And- And particularly if we do refer it to a
the
committee,
in-house.
then we let it go to the committee, and then oftentimes it comes back through with the report out on the minutes.
Okay.
It's a good question.
The other quick question I have, I think, is someone was out and changed the meter on the water last week or 2 weeks ago, the shut-off valve.
Okay.
And I noticed they put a lock on there or something, because you can't get in that.
On the man, yeah, on the covers.
Yeah, what is that all about?
Well, it's for the people that are dumping waste into it. We didn't want it to happen, so we put a lock on it so they couldn't waste.
Dump waste in it.
You talking about the sewer side, or you talking about fresh water?
Oh,
I'm talking, yeah, it's the fresh water. There's a meter right in front of my house, and the tub or whatever, the casing that it's in, the meter was changed, and I know there's a lock where you can't get in there. If I wanted to shut my water off, I can't get in there. And I went, checked a few up the street there, and theirs were the same way. I was curious as to what that was all about.
Yeah, I'll have to do some checking into
Aren't
it.
those automatic readers?
That might be where they
Yeah,
can go
it
by and
is.
just
Got the
go,
little
yeah.
round meters in
And my
there.
mower might hit that thing.
You mean, I don't know. I know up until last month, I used to see the guy when he comes around, he used to come around and look down in there and read it.
Yeah,
And I
we're,
know there's been several times where I had a need to turn my water off. I do that when I'm on vacation.
so,
That's right, Steve.
And,
You should have a shut off in your house.
well, I know. If I can find it. It's easier for me to use the one outside. But I was just curious as to what that was all about.
He told the
We're
readers.
putting all new meters in throughout the town. We have been for a couple of years now.
yeah, there,
There's different ones.
So there's no way to get into that casing, is that what we're
We can
saying?
get into them, yeah.
I know, but I'm talking about the homeowner.
No, you're not supposed to get into them.
we're not supposed to turn your water on.
Okay. Huh?
That was good.
Yeah,
Albert.
Albert, we're just
Full,
moving to
4
what they
foot full
call
of water,
radio
they
read
turn the
meters,
water
so
on.
they don't even have to check. They just drive by and then they
But that's
wireless talk
something
to each
really
other.
new, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing it for about
It's
2
been
or 3
going on
years.
for
Change them out randomly.
They just now got to our house.
okay. Because as I say, I know for sure, I've seen the guy out front checking my meter within the last couple of months.
Yep.
Okay, good, thank you.
All right, anything else on miscellaneous?
No.
Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Is that motion a second? That was quick, Steve.
Aye.